Yuan Ming. It's time for our next pattern, and thank you for the feedback from last week. To those of you whom I got some, it seems that you have liked the new version of doing this Ling Yuan. So we're gonna do that again today. I don't know if we're gonna do it every time, probably not, but today it felt like the Qifield and us feel happy with this idea. So today we're looking into ignoring and avoiding action. Pooh. So this one is important for us to take with a lot of humor and with a lot of self-love. Because this pattern in itself can very easily put us into the state of feeling guilty, of feeling not good enough, to ignoring to take action or to avoid to take action. In Renshu, we basically see it from the side to not work on our patterns, to not make attempts working on specific patterns. When we have once seen a pattern, so once we are aware of it, once we can recognize it, which, yes, is the first question in Ling Yuan, the 8th method. When we recognize a pattern, we are mostly very happy to see, oh yeah, this is a problem. And then the next thought is also we're very happy to simply recognize it. No? Awareness can be this beautiful thing about unhealthy things, because very often we are not even aware of the unhealthy patterns, yes? And then once we are aware of something that needs change so our life can improve, obviously, there's sometimes many steps that go with that recognition and to take action. And often we don't even know where to start or how to change. And so this not knowing where to start or how to start can be part of this pattern. On the other side, sometimes we have made a lot of attempts to change one particular pattern. Especially when one of the fundamental patterns, greed, comes into being, or into being, I mean, when greed is activated. Remember, greed is actually the seesaw, the balance of pain and pleasure. So any type of pain, we are trying to avoid it through pleasure, or we're trying to cope with the pain through pleasure. And in the biggest sense, or the widest sense, the most broad sense of looking at this, we could make it simple. So maybe the overgeneralization pattern comes in a little bit here, oversimplification, to overgeneralize something. But still, if we think about it very closely, it could be close to the truth when we say that any type of pain basically comes from not being the true self. All forms of emptiness, all forms of not feeling like there is a sense of purpose to our life, all forms of pain, we then attach to it, because when we are the true self, we don't attach to the pain. We simply are in the state of openness and full acceptance of the pain, and we are observing it rather than being disturbed by it or being bothered by it. So one feels the pain, but it's not. It's okay. It's just there. And one is also with the understanding that, okay, it will go away again. It will pass. And any type of emotional pain also comes in a way from attachment. And we don't have these when we are the true self. So, generally speaking, we can say any pain comes from not being the true self. And very often we are trying to cope and fill ourselves up because we have this feeling of something is missing to our life experience. And it's a pretty big something, not being your true self can make us experience a sense of not being whole. Honestly, obviously, we are not the true, we are a lot of false parts then. And yes, of course, that comes with pain and pleasure. Covering desires is an attempt to get away from the pain or cope with the pain. So greed, this is the name, or greediness, this is the name that Janse gave that this pattern or the manifestation of this pattern. So greed is one way how we often actually do take action when we are being tortured by a pattern. Do you feel tortured by patterns? I do. When patterns are active, I feel quite tortured. So when a pattern is active, that's what our human consciousness, the unhealthy parts, the false parts, do in form of taking action. It goes into grief. Oh, greed, sorry. Well, grief probably is quite true too. grief of being aware to missing the true self. Another way of taking action is allowing the pattern of stubbornness to dictate what we're doing. So, stubbornness, the description of it, if you remember, is the resistance to change. Maybe also the unwillingness to change. But if you already are sitting in the Renshi Qifield, the willingness must be there because otherwise you wouldn't face yourself this way. So the resistance to change is probably more the reality for the pattern of stubbornness, or again, this the sense or the experience of not being able to change a pattern or not being able to have changed the pattern yet, to not have been able yet to do so. And this then very often deepens our ignoring and avoiding to take action when we have tried and made another attempt and another attempt and another attempt in changing a pattern, and it simply won't budge, or it budges a little bit, or even changes really to a healthy behavior. And after a while, it just is back. So this process can sometimes hinder us in taking action to change a pattern. So this is what we are putting into the Qifield today to help ourselves with this. So basically to increase our understanding about, okay, this is why I have stopped trying to change this pattern, because I had many tries already, many attempts at it already, and it never worked out before. And today we are putting in information into the Qifield. And remember, you can always unify with the Qifield. You are always this person up there, the Chi person in the center of the universe. And the universe is always sending the Chi to you. It's always sending the Chi to you from all directions into you. And of course, the wisdom and the love. So if you need more attempts, that's what we do. That's what we need to do. We need to keep attempting. We need to keep trying. We need to start over again and over and over and over again. And when we have a very good understanding of this pattern, ignoring and avoiding action, then we can meet ourselves with compassion we can meet ourselves with the clarity of that patterns can be very stubborn, that patterns can be the one thing that doesn't let us get in contact with the pain. Yeah. So we are, so to speak, in the pleasure. And pleasure can be any form. It can be chocolate, it can be heroin, it can be alcohol, it can be another pattern. We can be addicted to our patterns. We can be addicted to wanting vengeance or wanting retaliation. We can be addicted to wanting to be right. We can be addicted to being stubborn when we think something unfair was done to us or something hurtful was done to us. We can have a resistance to going into the state of love and just loving that person. Or we can have we can have to make a choice, or we can refuse to go into the state of love or refuse to go into the state of acceptance. Because this is what happens between us people, between us humans. Our patterns are truly so complex. And when two people meet and two patterns are so feeding each other, yeah. One thinks the other person has done something to hurt you. Now that person doesn't want any contact or doesn't want to. There's many forms, right? Doesn't want to give you something or doesn't want to change their mind because very sure they are very sure that they have been hurt. And the other person thinks, well, there's nothing that I've done. Are you aware of that situation? Yourself, maybe. And I'm happy to apologize once I know what it is. So those two patterns often feed each other, right? So here we need to take action and be the first who goes back into a state of love and acceptance. For example, that's just one example. So we can be addicted to all these sorts of things. We can be addicted to blaming someone or something else. And if it is not a person, then have you maybe observed that? Then we blame life, or, well, people who choose to believe in God, they might blame God. Or, I have sometimes caught myself blaming the universe, Tao. Or, blaming the situation on the planet, or blaming the politicians, or blaming nature, or blaming all humans. or claiming only one person or one group of person. Yeah. So this can be our pleasure. We can be greedy or addicted to the externalization, to making everything external, or to directing our consciousness into the external. So, this pattern that we're looking in today, in some form, it is our friend. When this becomes active and or when this pattern is active and then you feel guilty because you are aware that you haven't changed the pattern yet, or haven't managed to change a pattern yet, or you just simply don't want to start with a newly recognized pattern. Usually then you will feel some form of guilt or a sense of being a failure, being incapable, etc., etc. So sometimes we need to change with this one right here, and that is to, okay, what actions could I be taking? So you can basically override the ignoring and think about what type of actions might be possible for you. So maybe it is not to change the pattern itself, the one pattern that you currently are looking into and observing, that you are aware of, the one pattern that you currently are working with or thinking about. Maybe you cannot change the behavior if it's a behavioral pattern, but think about, can you maybe take the action of adjusting your state of being, your state of Xinling? Can you choose to, instead of sending hate or sending victimhood, the feeling of being hurt or treated unfairly, can you choose to send love to that object of your blame? Or can you choose to accept and open yourself through acceptance? Go ahead and close your eyes if you like. Relax deeper even. And unify. Turning into Qi. You are Qi. And expand out into all directions. Keep expanding out. Becoming one with the universe. in from all directions. Out here, bring the chi back with your consciousness, allowing it to fill you, allowing it to nourish you. Qi and Tao are filling you. Let the bright light of the universe nourish you with love and compassion. Open to the universe with reverence and gongqing. You feel free, joyful, you are relaxed. Chi is gathering and flowing smoothly. Awareness in your lower dantian. Do some dantian breathing. Now allow your awareness to flow up to your heart, your Xinling, and adjusting our heart with the Kai Shin words. Heaven, earth, and human are all teachers with infinite wisdom. I open my Shinmen to love and trust them unconditionally. With gratitude in my heart, I receive their love and wisdom and unify with it. My Shen, Yi, and Shin are fully aligned with the light of Tao. With Gongqing, realization and wisdom are arising. I am one with the light of the wisdom of the universe. Feel the space of your shinling now, your heart space, and allow it to expand upwards so your Shen Yi, your consciousness becomes one, and your sense of self becomes one with your heart. Your heart is the best inquirer into your life. Your heart is the one who asks the best questions, the most necessary questions, even the toughest questions, in order for you to be able to change your life. And your Shen Yi, with its infinite potential, with its infinite access to the universe, will answer. It will bring you information. It will either attract information or be open to receive information. So you can gain clarity and insights. So you can have realizations, which in turn bring upon transformation. Now ask yourself, can I choose to take action in the form of adjusting my inner state? Even in this case, when I cannot change or replace the pattern right away, a certain behavior or a certain thought, can I adjust the state from the unhealthy one to a healthy one? For example, can I state from entitlement to, or the sense of lack, missing something, to the state of gratitude about something that I already have received? Or can I change into the gratitude about what I will receive in the future? Can you do that? Can you change from hate to love? Can you change from jealousy to being happy for the other person? Back to love. If you are feeling guilty about something, do you think, ask yourself, can you take action instead of feeling guilty? You can accept, go into the state of openness and accept that for now it is how it is. Can you change to the state of trust? That you will be able to change or replace the behavior at some stage, because everything changes at some stage. And until then, you stay in acceptance. So let's keep looking into that. Keep your eyes closed. And let's see how you can relate to the information. The pattern of ignoring and avoiding action refers to the mentality and behavior of knowingly or unknowingly allowing things to go in a negative direction, or to allow knowingly or unknowingly to form a vicious cycle by ignoring or neglecting. Go ahead and allow your heart to ask yourself if you can find anything where you are ignoring or neglecting yourself, allowing something to keep going in this negative direction. Maybe you want to pick one specific one for today. And if you're feeling very uncomfortable now that you are consciously and knowingly picking one thing that you want to change, that you are aware of, and you have been attempting or neglecting it or attempting to change it, now counteract it with trust if you feel uncomfortable. Trust yourself. Trust the Qifield to help you. Trust the universe to help you. Trust other people to help you. And most of all, trust yourself. Don't give up on yourself. Trust the laws of the universe that you will be able to change. No matter how difficult it is, no matter how difficult or impossible it seems to have been in the past. Use this time, this here, this moment now to infiltrate some trust into that situation, to infiltrate some love into that situation. Can you recognize now that actually that whatever makes you feel bad about it is your true self helping you through feeling uncomfortable. You are being supported and helped so you can gather driving force and motivation and inspiration to make another change, to make another attempt to give it another try. Can you feel how uplifted you feel right now? Simply because you have taken action of trusting. It is an internal action, yes, but it is some form of action that you have taken. And now trust that the behavioral change will follow when the time is right. Let's see. Let's look into a few examples here that Janse has come up with when he invited us to look into ignoring and avoiding action. I know I have unhealthy habits and addictions. There isn't much I can do about it. Life goes on. Now feel into this after we have first infiltrated our own self with trust and love. Many people are like that, and they seem to be doing just fine. Why bother going to the trouble of tackling things that are extremely difficult to change? Feel into this, observe inside, in silence. Just because others don't change this thing, is this a good enough excuse for you to not trying to change it, no matter how difficult it is? I know I have this unhealthy habit and I have attempted to change it, but with little success. I have given up and decided to just let it be. Observe inside yourself as your Shen Yi is in contact with all the opportunities and possibilities in the universe. Often, when things are not going well, I immediately think it is someone else's fault and I feel angry. I have done enough work on myself. What is the point of continuing to try to change myself? Why not take it easy and go with the flow? Some of the related patterns to this pattern, the ignoring and avoiding action, is avoiding and hiding, fixed expectations, self-centeredness, double standards, laziness and procrastination, and shirking and shifting responsibility. This pattern will inevitably turn a small fault into a bigger fault, or allow a problem to evolve into many problems. So allow yourself to observe the truth in that and relate it to what you have picked to work on today, and how the reality or the truth of when you don't take action, how it will get from a small problem into a bigger one, or from one small problem into many problems. When we ignore and avoid action, we will be unable to truly face our problems, let alone change them. Eventually, vicious cycles of all kinds will develop, taking life in a negative direction. This pattern can be detrimental to yourself, to other people, and to the environment. So let's look into whether some relatively healthier consciousness and behavioral patterns, whether we want to admit it or not, every adult has many unhealthy patterns. These patterns will not just disappear by themselves if they are left unattended. More likely, the number and intensity of unhealthy patterns will increase. So open yourself or keep staying open. This is certainly maybe not easy to face. Problems don't change themselves. They probably go even worse or become bigger. Very gently allow that truth to go deep inside of you. Ignoring and avoiding action is different from going with the natural flow. To go with the natural flow refers to following the laws for a healthy, natural, and harmonious development. And this leads to the opposite effect of this unhealthy pattern. So let's look into that a little bit. You know, this sensation we have when we are in the natural flow of the laws of the universe. It's a very light and beautiful state of being. It's healthy, and also the development will be leading to benefits. And it's a natural development. So this is one thing we humans very often hear in ourselves, or also hearing others say it. What happened, what will happen, or it will happen, or if it's supposed to happen, it will happen. Well, but if we need some action, if we need to take an action for something to be able to happen, and we don't take the action, then it will never naturally develop. Can you see the difference? If we see something is developing into a very unhealthy direction, and we are getting stuck in the belief that it's too difficult to change or that it's supposed to be this way, and so we allow the negative to be there, we don't take action to change it, then it can't change. And to see these two different behaviors as the same is a manifestation of the avoiding and hiding pattern in itself. So what do we do? Feel into yourself. You don't know how, you don't know where to start. So start with deciding or determining if the direction you can observe of the recognition of an unhealthy pattern or unhealthy behavior, an addiction, or a common or habitual way of reacting or responding to something in a negative way. Determine if it is a negative thing or if it keeps leading to negative outcomes. Then it's an unhealthy pattern and you need to take action. And if you can determine that it leads to beneficial and healthy results for you and others at the same time, then that's going with the flow. So your gauge can be the outcome, the unhealthy or healthy outcome. And if you need to take action to change something, or if you can simply go with the flow, that's how you can determine if it's going with the flow, leading to healthy, or if it's necessary to take action in order to get to the healthy one. Because without the taking action, you are stuck within the negative, and that's not natural. So one of the related patterns is shirking and shifting responsibility. Can you see how it's related? When you, for example, doubt yourself, that you can't change, then you're shifting the responsibility to that situation being so difficult that it's being too difficult. The situation is because of things have been developing in an unhealthy, negative way, and we have allowed it to get there when it's so difficult to change. So, what's wrong with so difficult? What's wrong with a difficult situation? Maintain awareness in every present moment so every thought and every action can be seen clearly. Feel into this one. I will repeat this one. Maintain awareness in every present moment so every thought and every action can be seen clearly. When noticing that there is room for adjustment or change, face the thoughts or actions seriously and make the necessary adjustment or change. This is how tomorrow can be better and where hope for the future lies. Facing yourself and making change is the beginning of taking responsibility for your own life. It is also a way to carry out our responsibility and obligation to others and the world. go ahead. Can you allow your consciousness to connect with how this is important for your life and then expand and see how this pattern could affect that you can take the responsibility and obligation towards others. Can you allow yourself to see the connection when you don't change this behavior or this pattern, this thought? Can you see how it is standing in the way of humanity changing or the world changing, the planet being saved, etc.? Allow yourself a few minutes to look into this. It is not a scary thing to face your problems. It is not a scary thing to face your problems. It is not a scary thing to face your problems. What is truly scary is not seeing your problems or pretending that they don't exist. So here is a suggestion to cultivate Wu Xin. The 5 heart qualities is Wu Xin. Wu is 5 and Xin is heart. So cultivate the 5 heart qualities and especially trust, openness, and love. Focus on working on the pattern of avoiding and hiding. Now make yourself completely one with the Qifield and all the information from today. Imagine yourself completely merging with the information. Open yourself and override the stubbornness, the resistance to change, and override the attempt to shirk responsibility, to avoid responsibility. Go into the state of love. Love and trust the Qifield to help you. Love and trust the universe to help you. Have you seen a problem today? Have you clearly seen a problem? In Ling Yuan, we have one whole question for this pattern. What is your intention in regards on what to do with this pattern from now on? This is me acting as your heart, asking you. Your heart is asking you, what is my intention in regards on what to do with this pattern? Now allow your consciousness to go into the replacement information and possible replacement. Now affirm and accept and invite the new patterns into your life and affirm them with Wushin. Gently open out to the universe and draw back all the information and chi to your heart, to your shin, and to lower dantian. If you like to continue to sit, please go ahead and do so. And if you like to finish, please tap down chi, guide chi down your legs and to the head and face if you like. And I wish you all the courage in the world. Remember, you have the support of the Qifield, of Yansa, of the universe, of me, to take action when it's necessary. Yuan Tong, Ming Ming.